Well, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, sisters and brothers, assalamu alaikum. It is my honor to have been asked to address you today on a topic that is in my heart: interreligious dialogue and the role of interreligious dialogue in advancing world peace, but also in fighting Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, or all forms of bigotry directed against any human being. I wish I had 6 hours to address you, but knowing that my time is limited, I'll try to limit myself as much as I humanly could. In the three monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, we all say that we worship one God, we have one human family, or we talk about the Abrahamic family. We all talk about that we all come from the same origin and we are heading to the same destiny. And therefore I believe our path in running this universe must be one and must bring us together. In Judaism, we talk about mishbacha ikhad. In Islam, we talk about aila wahida. And therefore, this aila wahida or usra bashariya wahida or one human family must coordinate its efforts together. We all are created in the image of God, as Christianity and Judaism teach us. As Islam teaches us, we all have divine spark in us, min ruhillah. And therefore, in undermining one another, we are undermining the very God who created us. And by caring for one another, we are caring for the same God who created all of us. We also learn from the three religions that yes, there are so many differences. However, there are so many common grounds and similarities that bring them together, and I believe at the core of all religion is love. My brothers and my sisters, our friends, the social, political, and economic realities of the world are so threatening to our global security and stability. And I believe there are so many enemies that threaten the world. And we have to understand Islamophobia or anti-Semitism in light of a bigger problem: militarism, poverty, racism, and global warming. And we have to understand Islam as a part of these four big enemies. And therefore we have to coordinate our efforts to fight militarism and a growing sense of militarism, poverty and racism, but also global warming. My friends, religions may have been used to advocate violence and war, but I also believe that religions are a part of the problem. And therefore we have to refrain from the usage of the term Islamic war or Islamic terrorism or Jewish terrorism or Christian terrorism. I believe none of these religions can advocate for violence or hate of the other if properly understood. This moment in our human history is a moment that is rather important, and I believe this moment is the most important chapter in our human history. Therefore, it is up to us, the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims, and the followers of other religions, to draw the best chapter, to protect the chapter we can write ourselves. A chapter of peace, justice, inclusion, and compassion. My friends, that is what God wants us to do. Therefore, interreligious dialogue is needed, is a necessity, and no longer a matter of a choice to make or not make. Because we are sharing the stewardship of responsibility to care for the trust, the amana, with which God entrusted us. In order for interreligious dialogue to work, in order for it to contribute to world peace, we need to keep in mind the following principles. Number one, while we are free to see the world or the divine in the way we see applicable, we still are obliged to respect others' right to have different perspectives and different views. Number two, we need to respect the passion each religious community brings to the table to affirm their understanding of the truth. That's what the Quran teaches. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. To you is your way, and to me is mine. Number three, the need to develop a profound belief that all human beings, all religions or races, and all ethnicities are equal partners in the creation of world peace. No one can speak from above down, and no one is spoken to from above. We are all equal. That's also what the Quran teaches us. Number four, our human family is much more beautiful when it is celebrating its respectful diversity, and underline the word respectful diversity. That's what the Quran wants us to do. اختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم. We need to celebrate the diverse tongues, the diverse languages we bring to the table. Number five, we need to acknowledge the need for inclusion of others, dialoguing with others, believing that all others can contribute to the making of the human family. When I acknowledge you, not because I am doing favor to you, but I'm doing a favor to myself in doing so. The Quran wants us to engage one another with three principles: ta'arafu, ta'awanu, tanafasu, that we may get to know one another, that we may get to engage one another on an intellectual level. That is to say, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are expected and must get to know one another on a deep level. However, they have to move that dialogue to diapractice. Dialogue is a dialogue of ideas. Diapractice is when we move from theory to practice. When we move from talking about our religions to practicing together our religions. At Georgetown University, I teach a class called Interreligious Encounter. What is unique in that class is something you don't find anywhere in the world. There are three professors who teach that class: a rabbi, a priest, and an imam. And imagine having the three clergy in the same class for 3 hours every week for 5 months, because we learn together. Last week, when Jewish cemeteries were undermined, were vandalized in America, it was the Muslims who raised $150,000 to rebuild the Jewish cemetery. And when a mosque was vandalized in Florida, it was the Jews and the Christians raising the money to rebuild the mosque. That's what the Quran says, tanafasu, that we compete in the doing of good for all people. The next principle for interreligious dialogue to work, we need to together fight that militarism, racism, and poverty. We need to work for equal access to water, health care, security, and freedom. Believing that a threat to any religion anywhere is a threat to every religion everywhere. That is to say, we Muslims must have a loud voice when Jews are undermined. Jews have a loud voice when Muslims are undermined. Christians have a loud voice when Muslims and Jews are undermined. That is to say, I stand up for you and you stand up for me. I am told to conclude. However, I come from Washington, D.C., not because I'm special, but the hours of traveling give me a minute or two of the great hospitality. My friends,
I would love to. Mr. Mushi have a flight just in few minutes, and he came for the conference just like you.
Okay.
So I am between. Let's make a tolerance.
To conclude,
okay,
I would dare to say that interreligious dialogue must bring us together, where we stand up with one another, for each other, and together. I don't walk in front of you, I don't walk behind you. We rather walk with each other. Number two, we refrain from using terminology that undermines others, such as the term Islamic terrorism or Jewish terrorism. And I have two solutions I may put on the table here, or possible projects that can help. What about creating an international network of religious leaders fully dedicated to peace building between religions? That's number one, the creation of an international network of rabbis, priests, imams, and monks that are trained to live up to this principle. And number two, what about the creation of an international interfaith media outlet that brings us all together? I need to finish, I will finish. However, I finish with one thing, my friend. Sure. I say, love is the essence of faith, forgiveness is the essence of religion, and humility is the essence of humanity. And I believe if we act with that inclusive love, the world can be a better world for all of us. There will be no Islamophobia, no anti-Islamism, no anti-Semitism, and no anti-Christian sentiments. And therefore I believe that there is no difficulty love cannot confront, there is no door love cannot open, and there is no gap love cannot bridge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yahya Hindi, the Muslim chaplain of Georgetown University, Washington. Thank you.